do I become the best version of me? Raised by certain degrees, they say I'm blurting disease, cause I spit anti-establishment. This is battleship, I'm calling your number and letter, and I only do it to make you better. Negative mindsets just won't let up, and I'm constantly battling my predecessors, cause I get too fed up. But the same when the same brings pain. Lots of change, reduce the potential of human brains. I'm too insane, at least it's what they label me. I'd rather be labeled as crazy than stuck in the matrix. I got Asia chasing cause I'm making these statements. I'm participating in the emancipation of a nation under interrogation. See my determination as you're turning these pages. I will never ever be degraded. They want me to dumb it down. They say the industry ain't ready for too pure of a sound, for too pure of a heart, for too much empathy. I will give it all till I empty me. This is my manifest destiny. Preferably dropping bombs over melodies. You feel it heavily, you're telling me. Watch out. But it brings a resistance. Please don't miss this. Consequence vicious. We need to destroy the traumas. Go back and heal for a better tomorrow. Face the pain that you want to avoid. Stick out your chest and raise up your voice. I will not bend. I will not break. Stand in my place and I won't be swayed. Mark my words, lives will be saved. And even after I die, my legacy will remain. My emotions run amok, I'm out of luck. What the flying flip is going on? I say I'm a king, but I'm showing porn. My logic feels intoxicated. No love left cause my heart's been raided. Feeling jaded, want me medicated. Feeling like a fish cause I'm hooked and baited. And I can't find peace. I become my own worst enemy. Sipping Hennessy, feeling dead in me. If my pain were a woman, gotta let her free. Let it go. But she's holding on with a grip of death. The pain gets worse with every breath. I just wanna keep you in the dark so low. You feel it in your soul. Never see the light of day. You say, yeah, I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I don't like who I become. What have I done? I'm going numb, ain't having fun. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. Crazy is as crazy does. I catch myself trying to flirt with Lady Luck, but she just curves me. I'm worried, vision's blurry, feeling like death's coming early. You never get rid of me, even when you say that you're getting sick of me. Pain is so vividly making you sickening, feeling with misery, burning like Listerine. I spit on your grave, I'm taking control until you misbehave. The pain comes in waves, today I'm a slave. A trophy to gain, I'll put you on display. And laugh at your misfortune, laughing at your tears pouring, laughing at attempts of ignoring. Pieces foreign, the more you fight, the more you let me more in. This can't be life, but Doc help me out, I can no longer fight. I'm crying uncontrollably, I need a hold of me, what's life supposed to be? And I'm feeling suicidal, all my rivals got me quitting on survival. My heart needs to mend, I don't wanna kill myself, just want the pain to end. But it feels like an uphill battle, I see your misery with a broken paddle. I've journaled, have addictions, there's a hole in me cause something's missing. I'm in prison, in my mind, gotta hear what's been left behind. EMDR, whatever it takes, if I don't see change, I swear I'm gonna break. I just wanna keep you in the dark so low. You feel it in your soul. Never see the light of day. You say, yeah, I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I don't like who I become. What have I done? I'm going numb, ain't having fun. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. I think I'm going crazy, 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 crazy. Keep hope alive. 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 Watch me do my work. Working hard to achieve my dreams, it's harder than it seems. Watch you do my work. Sky's the limit, gotta hit it till you fit it, revel in it. Watch you do my work. Hungry for change to have my name known, cause I say so while the days go. Watch you do my work. Cause I stand for a purpose. Watch you work this, cause I'm work. Watch you do my work. Watch you working harder than the evidence. Spitting from the hearts of people that feeling irrelevant. Spitting for the hell of it, embracing all the elements. Music, chemical content that'll challenge your intelligence. This ain't for the faint to the heart. Mature folks thinking that I'm way too smart. Too mature for my age, wanna put me in the grave, but I need a safe face, cause I'm running my race. Running my race, even overweight. But you see me overweight, cause I'm stealing off your plate. And I'm feeling so great, even though I make mistakes. Do whatever it takes to make winning the Mason race. But you will never bury me. Talking bad about the man is like heresy. Or fire like kerosene, apparently my words are like therapy. Watch you do my work. Working hard to achieve my dreams, it's harder than it seems. Watch you do my work. Sky's the limit, gotta hit it till you fit it, revel in it. Watch you do my work. Hungry for change to have my name known, cause I say so while the days go. Watch you do my work. Cause I stand for a purpose. Watch you work this, cause I'm work. Watch you do my work. I don't look like a rapper, what they look like, what they sound like, why they sound bite. I'm too busy cruising in my lane, I don't need to buy fame. And this is why I came to put it work in the hearts of man. There's nothing harder than I like a martyr can. Watch you do my work, watch you do it well. Been through hell and I'm telling a story that's so compelling. It's got me screaming and yelling, negative is a repellent. And ain't no dreams I'm selling, cause it gets so numb, I'm rebelling. I work hard, you can tell, full of heart, raising hell. Cause you're gonna see me rock the scene like prophecy on a lock and key. It's gotta be something to write home about, cause I work with pride, I got a fire inside. Watch you do my work. Working hard to achieve my dreams, it's harder than it seems. Watch you do my work. Sky's the limit, gotta hit it till you fit it, revel in it. Watch you do my work. Hungry for change to have my name known, cause I say so while the days go. Watch you do my work. Cause I stand for a purpose. Watch you work this, cause I'm worth it. Watch you do my work. Work, work, work. Watch you do my work. Work, work. Watch you putting that work, work, work. Watch you do my work, work, work. Watch you putting that work, work, work. Watch you do my work, work, work. Watch you putting that work, work, work. Watch you do my work, work, work. Watch you do my work. Working hard to achieve my dreams, it's harder than it seems. Watch you do my work. Sky's the limit, gotta hit it till you fit it, revel in it. Watch you do my work. Hungry for change to have my name known, cause I say so while the days go. Watch you do my work. Cause I stand for a purpose. Watch you work this, cause I'm worth. Watch you do my work. Working hard to achieve my dreams, it's harder than it seems. Watch you do my work. Sky's the limit, gotta hit it till you fit it, revel in it. Watch you do my work. Hungry for change to have my name known, cause I say so while the days go. Watch you do my work. Cause I stand for a purpose. Watch you work this, cause I'm worth. Watch you do my work. Work, work, work. Watch you do my work, work, work. Watch you putting that work, work, work. Watch you do my work, work, work. Watch you putting that. We have a problem. Uh-oh, there's a problem in the industry. You probably didn't think too many people would be into me. You want carbon copies? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint. It's a breaking point. Words so absurd that I'm breaking joints. Who's this brother in a suit jacket think he is? Don't he know that rappers ain't taking this serious? It's all about making hits, lyrics to the side. Humility isn't welcome cause we're talking.
Hey, folks, welcome to Therapy Thursdays, where we bring the therapist to you. I am your host, Marcus Alexander Velasquez, and I'm really happy that you're here today. Today is going to be a wonderful episode, like they always are. Yeah, this new headset decides to mute itself, so I really don't know why, but we're going to keep going because this is slick and I need to put this to use. Anyways, all right, here we go. So, welcome to Therapy Thursdays. Today's episode, we're talking about embodied decision making. And to be honest, I don't know much about that topic. When I saw it on the sign up sheet, our wonderful guest therapist today, she added the topic to her sheet. You know, when I created the show, I had my predetermined list of topics. I have to say again and again, I'm not a therapist. But you know, I went online and I got a good amount of therapeutic topics to talk about. And but I know it's not an exhaustive list. So anytime I talk to our wonderful guest therapist, I let them know, please sign up for as many episodes as possible. And if there are any topics that are not listed that you would like to talk about, please add them to the list. Well, this topic today is one of the topics that was added to the list by our guest. So Therapy Thursdays is a beautiful place. This is where we come to be honest, to be raw, to be open about who we are, embrace our weaknesses, take advantage of areas of opportunity, utilize the amazing benefits of therapy. Clearly, the title of the show is Therapy Thursdays, so we support therapy 100%. And it is an amazing tool. Like I said, I'm not a therapist, but I am a product of therapy. I've been to therapy on and off for about 6 to 7 years. Grown tremendously from it. It is a beautiful thing. And it's an amazing world, one that's not explored as much as it should be. Clearly, over the years, the topic of mental health awareness has gotten more popularity and has been more prevalent in society. So I'm glad that's happening, number one. Number two, I want to make sure that we're getting accurate and credible information, because the term mental health can just be thrown out there. Anybody can say it, but we need to talk to the pros about it. And that's exactly the point of this show. Is we have licensed therapists come on as guests every single show to give us the credible information when it comes to therapy topics, when it comes to mental health awareness, and tips and strategies for how to strengthen your mental health. This show in itself is not therapy. I repeat, this show is not therapy, but it's intended to give you a taste of therapy. It's to give you an introduction into the world of therapy, to correct maybe some misinformation you have about therapy, and also to introduce correct information to you about different therapeutic topics. So I'm really excited to get into this one today. Our guest, we actually had her on a previous show, so she is back. So clearly I didn't annoy her enough because she came back for another episode. But we're looking forward to having her on here. So I want to go through our disclaimer first and foremost. This show is for informational purposes only. You are completely responsible for what you do with the information presented, and myself and all of our guests cannot be held liable for any misuse or misunderstanding of the information presented. Please always consult a trained mental health professional before making any decisions regarding treatment of yourself and others. If you are joining us live on YouTube, thank you for being here. Please like this video. Please comment below. Please subscribe to the channel. One of the best parts about this show is the live Q&A function. So because we're streaming live on YouTube, those who join us on YouTube, there's a live chat button that you can click on there, and you can type questions to us that will literally pop up here on my screen, and we'd be happy to answer them. So please take advantage of the chat feature. Please ask your questions. whether it's on the topic today, which is embodied decision making, or anything mental health related. We want to get your questions answered. So please don't be shy. Please type away. We would love to get to know your questions. So it is my honor to introduce our guest today. I'm really excited to have her here. So I'm really excited to dig into this topic because, again, I know very little about it, but she's going to teach me tonight, and hopefully we'll teach you guys a little bit too. So help me to welcome Lisaura Losada. Good. Come on down.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Great. After that technical difficulty.
We're back. We're on. It's good.
Lovely technology. This happened last week too. I gave it an extra shot, but now pa fuera. So I'm gonna send it back.
Pa la calle.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here and coming back too, along with all those letters after your name. I love all those extra letters.
All that means is that I am a licensed counselor and certified dance movement therapist.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So cool. And that lets you know that she's a pro, and all the letters confirm it. So yeah, Lisaura, thank you again for being here. For those who weren't here the last episode when you were here and you blessed us with an awesome topic of dance movement therapy, can you explain a little bit of your background, how long you've been in practice, if you focus on any topics in particular when it comes to mental health and therapy? And then my favorite question, what initially got you interested in therapy to become a therapist in the first place?
Sure. So I've been in practice for about a little bit over 15 years in residential treatment center settings, group private practice. And right now I have my own private practice and I focus on relationships. So I help adults and couples work on their relationships. And I do that through individual therapy, couples counseling, and dance therapy as well. So, and something that really interested me about this field is really wanting to understand why we do what we do. So a lot of curiosity. And I think I mentioned this last time we met, but when I went into grad school for psychology, I intended to, my plans were to go to law school eventually, but that changed. I really fell in love with therapy, and here I am.
That's interesting because we actually had a guest on, I don't know if it was last week or the week prior, but it was literally the same story. They were studying to become a lawyer and then got into therapy instead. So that's really cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, everyone who's tuned in, again, please take advantage of the live chat feature. Please submit your questions, comments. We would love to interact with you. This should be a live interactive environment, so please take advantage of this platform. So, Lisaura, because I told you that I know very little about this topic, so I'm ready to learn and get schooled. Let's get into it, shall we? So, did you have an activity that you wanted to do to get into this first?
Yeah, this will help get into it as well. So, yeah, and just kind of going along the lines of us experiencing therapy. So this is a taste of what some of my clients may experience. So I'm just gonna invite us, and I'll do it with you, to just take a moment, and we're gonna just help quiet our bodies. Okay, and with that, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna invite us to just kind of place a hand on our chest, and this could be done in any other part of the body that feels comfortable for those who are watching. And what we're doing, we're just really bringing that supportive contact with ourselves. And this is also helping us kind of bring the relaxation response in the nervous system. So what we're going to do, we're just going to just have that supportive contact and just take a couple of deep breaths at your own pace, your own time. And as you're connecting with your breath and your body, I'm just going to invite you to also check in with your body right now. So you may notice any like muscle tension as your body tense or relaxed. Temperature-wise, does it feel warm, hot? Maybe there's sensations in the body of energy, or maybe feeling a little lack of energy, maybe neutral. take a moment to notice what your body needs. Does it need to stay still, move or stretch a little bit for those who are watching? And take another breath or two. And slowly just start bringing that awareness back into the surroundings. Until you're ready to open your eyes.
Very
Yeah.
relaxed.
Any observations of where your body's at right now?
I definitely feel calmer than when we started.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think the technicality with my headphones definitely riled me up, so I was able to calm down from that. No, so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also noticed myself calming down a little bit, and I felt like I needed to kind of move a little bit, so that's why I'm readjusting right now.
Okay.
So just kind of noticing what my body needed. And for those of you who are watching, yeah, let's just keep paying attention to that because we'll come back to it as we move along.
Sweet, love it.
Mm.
Nice and calm. You're the only therapist that has actually had us do an activity like that on the show, so you are unique. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I think that dance therapy is so experiential, and it's I do this every day in one way or another. I'm constantly doing this with my clients, so it feels very like natural to me. I know it's not the case for everybody, but so yeah,
Awesome. Well, let's get into it, shall we? So if
yeah.
you can please give us a formal definition of embodied decision making.
Yeah, of course. So embodied decision making, it's a model that it was originally developed by experts in nonverbal communication and movement analysis. Their names are Warren Lamb and Rudolph Laban. And this was created to foster a sustainable practice in professional development and the workplace setting. So it originally was developed for the workplace. And actually, a fellow Puerto Rican and dance therapist, her name is Tania Caron, like she has researched this topic in depth. And in a paper that she wrote, she mentioned that embodied decision making is used to identify body-based stressors, to assess factors in the environment, and clarify needs and priorities to consider the possible courses of action and non-action.
Mm.
Okay, there's a lot to this model in that specific focus of the workplace. I am mentioning it because I wanna share a distinction and also clarify in how I use it, or how I use the term embodied decision making, or making an embodied decision, and how I use it in my practice. So I just wanna kind of share maybe a little bit of a disclaimer that when I am talking about this, it's not necessarily as the original model was developed.
Mm.
Okay, so that's why I just wanted to offer that distinction. So the way that I will be sharing it, it's really like how I help my clients guide in making decisions, right? Which essentially, when I think of embodied decision making, is really the process of just connecting with the body and gaining valuable information about our own decision making process, and also just kind of like starting to listen to body cues and what our body is telling us, so we can then make a more integrated choice, if that makes sense.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Sweet. So what was it about making embodied decisions that interested you in the topic?
Yeah, I think that it was both like personal and professional experience. Like personally, if I'm faced with a lot of options, I get really overwhelmed. So that's why I don't love shopping. I don't love online shopping. I don't love going to the mall. Like, it's just like way too many options. And
About
if you
restaurants with big menus.
um those, for some reason, I could focus a little bit more, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
Okay.
Because I practice embodied decision making when I'm not sure what to eat. um so
Right.
actually, I can just share you right now, like, sometimes, when I'm not sure what to eat, I picture myself eating each choice. Like, what is it that I'm kind of debating? I really picture myself, say if I'm between like two choices, like, what is it that I'm eating? And honestly, Marcus, like, sometimes, like, my mouth waters, like, I start salivating when I'm picturing myself, and the more information I get in my body, like, okay, yes, I can really imagine myself or see myself eating this. It helps me make the decision.
That's so
So
funny. I knew someone that would do something very similar, but she would go like as if she was tasting it.
see,
And it actually does kind of work.
yeah, it's just you're really kind of connecting with information that is there, and memories that also speaks to memories and how your body, in a way, remembers.
That makes
um
sense.
so I think, kind of considering too, like, the informational era that we live in, right? Like, we're constantly bombarded with so many different options and choices all the time, right? That there's always something fighting for our attention. And there's a lot of noise, right? And even the word, like, FOMO, that was the fear of missing
Mm.
out, right? That was coined, I think, around like 2004. Like,
Oh wow.
yeah, I was surprised too. It's been around for a long time. So this phenomenon of, like, people, constantly having this fear of people having like better experiences than you, and you should do this, or you must do that. So it really leaves you with, I'm either gonna not do anything because it's too overwhelming, or like, I'm gonna try and do everything and not be fully present with
Mm.
each choice, right? um so something that was really, helpful to me once, I was talking with, someone, getting some orientation, about some choices in my business, and something that they said that stuck out was, okay, Lisa, ahora, these choices, they're right choices, right? They're right choices, but are the right choices for right now?
Mm.
So I think there's also a sense of, like, timing in when we make a choice, right?
Absolutely.
And we have a sense of time in our body, and sometimes it's difficult to connect, with those cues and that information when there is so much noise,
Mm.
and so much, distractions, and not just external distractions. We also have the internal distractions, right? Like our own, narratives, and our own internal noise, right? That, sometimes, or most of the time, that internal noise can come from past hurts or past, negative experiences, right? And actually, this is something that I see, professionally with my clients, quite often, like, and especially when it comes to making decisions around a relationship, for example.
Mm.
So I think that it really, the concept or the idea of being able to quiet down the noise and really connect with information that I already have, is really what, um, interested me about embodied decision making, or resourcing my body to make decisions.
Very cool.
Mhm.
I was chatting with you before we went live, and I told you that you had an entourage, and we got one of your members of your entourage
Yes.
commenting here too.
Yay. That's my
And
sister.
nice,
Hola, hola.
you got some love there.
Hmm.
Awesome, cool. So yeah, what does that process look like of embodied decision making?
Oh, sure. So, when our mind, and for those of you who weren't here for the dance therapy, you can go back and watch it. But like I talked about like the connection of our mind, our body, our feelings, right? And our beliefs. So when our minds, our bodies, and our feelings are connected, that can create a sense of congruence, right? Like a sense of integration,
Mm.
which, you know, it's especially helpful when it comes to make decisions and hard decisions, right? And feeling connected can also help us and give us the opportunity to explore, right? Like values, fears, expectations that people may be having about certain decisions, right? Um, so yeah, in my experience, people are more likely to move forward with difficult decisions when they know it's the right decision to make, but it's a difficult one. They're more likely to move forward with it when they're feeling more connected and confident in the decision.
Mm.
So the process is just bringing um, like this integration, right, and connection of what they're thinking, what they're feeling in their body about it, and eventually, do I take action? Do I not take action in this? Do I need to wait, for example?
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Awesome. Anyone else, if any comments or questions, please utilize the chat. We would love to discuss them. So yeah, Lisara, what are the benefits of embodied decision making?
Mhm. So I think that, you know, one of my, you know, main observations when working, especially with what I see with my clients, that most choices that are made in a relationship that are problematic um, tend to be or come from a place of fear.
Mm.
Mhm. And we all have a bodily response to fear. Like we've all experienced fear, right? So and our nervous system, you know, gets activated, right? Like we may fight, you know, we have that response of fighting. It could be pushing through response, or an impulsive response, or
Mm.
forcing something, you know, to happen. There's the freezing, the freeze response. So it could look like not doing anything or feeling stuck, right? There's the sense of fleeing, you know, that could look like avoidance, or an impulse to leave a situation or a relationship, for example, or when people become isolative, or it's difficult to share their needs or communicate their needs, could be an example of that. Or complying, that could also be like passive action, or going with it. You know, we've heard it like kind of going with it. I really don't want to, but I'm just going to go with it, right?
Mhm.
So the when we connect with to our body to learn to calm our nervous system, kind of like what we were also doing at the beginning, like
Mhm.
quieting ourselves, that can be very helpful in not acting out of fear when it comes to making a choice. And I mean, something about fear too that is important to know. Sometimes making a decision out of signs of fear can be beneficial, right? Like because when we are connected with these signs, like sometimes we can differentiate between red flags or signs that are alerting me of danger. And I'm
Mm.
thinking, for example, an abusive relationship, right? Like a relationship that it's really okay. I need to move from this. You know, it is not safe, right? Um, versus signs of maybe I'm being pushed out of my comfort zone, so that I'm feeling uncomfortable, or there's some fear of being out of my comfort zone, right? So, but when we are not connected to those signs, so we can then clarify, like, what is it? Is it a fear indicating danger, or is it a fear saying, like, oh, you know what, maybe I'm being stretched out of my comfort zone, it's a growing type of pain,
Mm.
right? Um, so the more aware we are, the more space we create in our body to recognize those signs. then we're able to tease them out and to differentiate it, and then the decision could become clearer, right? And say, okay, what is it really happening here? Okay, so it can provide a really helpful feedback around that, right? It could also help us to recognize to be still, right? Do I need to still? Do I need to be still? Do I need to recuperate? Do I need to recharge, right? And then come back and consider this, right? Do I literally need to take some rest, to be able to come back and consider these options, right? Um, and again, we can listen if we need to pause, take action, or not take action. For example, um, I think that a lot of the process in making an embodied decision, it's about learning to listen to the body, right? To quiet, that's the first step. Then listen to what's happening, and then repeating that process, right? Like the more used you get to listening to the body, it can increase trust in yourself, like confidence in what your body's telling you.
Mm.
And then it becomes um, like more natural, right? And this is so important. This is so important, especially if someone, and I think we've all have experienced it this some way or another, like just feeling that our feelings have been invalidated before, or our
Mm.
experience wasn't understood,
Yep.
or but when a person has experienced constant invalidation of their experience time and time again, that creates a lot of internal confusion.
Mm.
And people get to a place where it's like, wait, I'm not sure. I think I know,
Mm.
but I'm not sure. And there's this constant doubt and questioning their own needs and choices. So this very simple act of relearning to pay attention and listen to your body can help people get to the place of like trusting themselves again, their
Mm.
bodies and their sense of agency, right? Also in communicating what they need and what they feel. So it can be very helpful in reconnecting with a sense of ownership of of our bodies as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We have our first question from the audience today. I'm Marlon D.
Mhm.
Marlon's asking, would you say shying away from groups more so than one-on-one, is it a form of fear, and what could be ways to turn things around?
Mhm. Shying away from groups. Hmm. That's a very interesting question. I think I would um, the way if I'm understanding the question correctly, if it's shying away from a certain group, I would love to hear a little bit more what type of group. If this is like a structured, organized group, or are you talking about a group of friends or a group of people important in your life?
Yeah, Marlon, if you'd like to add some context, that would be great. From what I gather, I think that it's not necessarily the type of group, it's just the fact that it is a group
Mhm.
more so than one on one. So I think this person just prefers one on one
Mm, mm,
conversations and that has a fear of being around groups.
mhm.
And he's
Okay.
asking, they're asking what could be ways to turn these things around.
Okay, yes, yes, thank you. That also makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think exploring a little bit like what maybe is causing, is it fear, is it apprehension? I would invite you to take some time, right? Like, and I'll give some examples in a little bit, but some practices of where you can connect and assess even when you are with a group, like what is it that you're feeling, what kinds of thoughts come up, what kinds of feelings come up, right? And then explore that a little bit on your own, maybe talking about it too with a trusted friend, like if you like being one-on-one with someone, right? Like if you have a trusted friend or a loved one, and say, hey, this is what I go through when I'm with a group, this is what I'm feeling. And that could give you information if it's something that you could eventually kind of work on your own, or maybe if you may need a little extra support around this area, like if there's maybe some anxiety that shows up when you're in big groups, for example. Not saying that this is what's happening to you, but I think that having some time for yourself to kind of explore what is driving the fear, if it's fear what you're experiencing, it could be anxiety, or what other feelings you notice when you're in groups, um, to then see, okay, what kind of support do I need? But I think maybe starting with some observation, okay, like what what's informing, what you're feeling when you're with groups. Um, does that make sense? And if it doesn't, please feel free to ask in a follow-up question or clarification.
Yeah, so in
We're here
regards
for
to
you.
groups, Marlon said it's
It's
groups,
groups,
period.
period.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
just
Yeah.
overall groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome,
So.
Marlon. Thank you
Mhm.
for your question. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Lisa?
No, then I think that just kind of starting to kind of explore, what about groups, kind of like what I mentioned previously, just kind of getting a little deeper, because then that would help you in, okay, what kind of support would I need if the intention is to reconnect with groups. I'm not sure if you would like to do that. Like if that's the intention, then we need to know first like what's getting in the way, and then to get the support so you can maybe work through that when you're with groups.
Awesome. Marlon commented again. Yes, it
Mhm,
does. So
mhm.
you looks like you answered his question.
Okay.
Awesome, Marlon. Thank you so much for the question. If anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. So basically, what I got out of this is I see the benefits of embodied decision making. I see that it is a conscious choice to involve your body, to pay attention to your body. So that makes me think of the opposite, which is what causes the need for embodied decision making. So that makes me think that we, as just people, can have a tendency to disconnect from our
Mhm,
body, and we either just don't pay attention to how we feel, or we know how we feel and we purposely ignore it, whether it's just learned behavior. Um,
mhm.
yeah. So is that right that the need for embodied decision making is because we tend to ignore our body in the first place?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'm not sure if that's like the need. I think we all have the need to feel more connected, more integrated, and full, and kind of whole. So yeah, I would say that there is a need to kind of bring all of these different processes that makes us humans, right? Like thoughts, feelings, our bodies, how we interact with ourselves and others. So yeah, in a way. Embodied decision making, or using our bodies to inform a decision, um, can be really helpful in that way, because that's right, there is a tendency, for many different reasons, to disconnect, right? And we do feel disconnected, sometimes. So just kind of bringing that attention. And for me, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's so much noise constantly,
Mm,
and I think that our bodies is something, and this is just me, is something that we have with us all the time. So it's an amazing resource that we have. So.
yeah. Is
Mhm.
there are there certain feelings or sensations one should look out for when they're starting to make more embodied decision making? So if someone has the tendency of ignoring their body, and the way the feelings that their body gives them in certain scenarios or situations, or when they're around certain people, when a person starts being proactive and actually listening to their body, which may not be their normal routine, what kind of things can they experience? We talked about, like, maybe some tingleness in certain parts of the body. Like, what are some things, if somebody's interested in moving forward with embodied decision making, what are some things they can expect, especially their first time doing it?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned the word routine, because actually I can share with you a few things that we can do to practice this, like in a consistent basis. Because if we are used to not listen to our body, which is very common, and it happens, right? Like if we're just on the go, or it's not a practice that we have, really starting with that awareness, it's what's going to help in identify what sensations am I having. And i I didn't notice this before.
Mm.
So I actually, this just reminded me of recently with a client. They were practicing this in their own time, just taking time in their day, 2 to 3 minutes, to check in with the body, like what we did at the beginning. And I encourage them to also write down observations, like what do you notice every time that you do when you do it. And this particular client, they were like, you know, they were at work, and it's like I was just feeling like really anxious, and I wasn't aware that I was anxious. And then
Mm.
when I took time to notice, they were experiencing tension in the chest, to notice that I had tension in my chest, I was like, wait, I cannot go back to work yet. So they went to the bathroom. They practiced an exercise that we've done in session, and then they're like, okay, now I can go back. And they told me like, oh, I felt much more connected and aware,
Mm.
um, because I stopped and took the time to just check in with myself.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'm usually in, they use the phrase going through the motions,
Yep.
So yeah, that was such a great example, and it's something simple that we can all do. So basically, here it is. Like we could practice. We can even do 1, 2, 3. It's not a formula. It's just some suggestions. Um, you can take 2, 3 times every day. You can set a timer. You set a timer and practice quieting the body, like what we did, like you and I, Marcus, at the beginning. And then you can bring contact with your body. Okay,
Mm.
this is very important, because really, when we make connection with our body in a supportive way, we are activating the relaxation response. And also, the hug hormone, or the love hormone, oxytocin, is
Mm.
being released. So that's what gives that sense of calm as
Yeah.
well. So we do get some release of that hormone when we connect with ourselves in a supportive way. It's much more noticeable when we get a hug from someone else, but we can also experience that with ourselves. So we're calming our nervous system, as we quiet. And then again, what we did at the beginning, just check in with your body. Just do a brief scan. Okay, what sensations am I having? You can start with temperature. These are easy to kind of think of. Temperature. Am I hot, warm, cold? Um, Tension, muscle tension. Um, is there a tingly sensation? Um, do I feel like I need to stretch? Can I breathe? How's my breath? Like, is it short? Is it a little bit deeper? So those cues you can start with. And then you can do this, for a few moments. And then you can also ask yourself, this is the cue, because this is part of what my client was experiencing. You can ask yourself, what do I need? What does my body need right now?
Mm.
And it could be as simple as, do I need water? We again go through the basics. Do I need a drink of water? Do I need to go to the bathroom? How many, maybe TMI, but how many people sometimes hold to and wait to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I'm in the middle of something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, do I really need to go to the bathroom? Or move? Or do I need to stand up and stretch, for those who are in front of the computer for long periods of time? Really, what do I need? Do I need to eat a
Mm.
snack? So very simple, basic. They seem simple, but the more you practice it, the more you're going to start um, exercising that listening ear of, what is my body telling me?
Mm.
And the more you do that, the more you're going to start noticing other cues that you may be surprised with, like, oh, I wasn't sure that I was feeling anxious, or oh, maybe I'm pleasantly pretty calm right now in a situation that maybe before I wouldn't have been, an
Yeah.
example. And then, yeah, after that, you can just um, keep the practice, 2 to 3 minutes every day. That's something very simple to start really getting connected with the body. And then other things that you can do with movement, just move in a way that feels good to you. Whether it is a walk, or if you like to ride a bike or dance or move, like those are add-ons too that you can explore.
That's great. Yeah, this sounds like a lot of self-awareness,
Hmm.
being aware of yourself, your body, your mind, how things feel, what you're thinking. That's good because, yeah, it's because of the hustle culture and the hustle and bustle, especially of the American culture. It's just go, 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 get things done, make money, get your status, worry about your job, and all these other things that we get put to the bottom of our own priority list, and
Hmm.
which is terrible because then we suffer for it. So
Hmm.
I think that's a great takeaway for today is that for our audience, you need to make sure that you're putting yourself at the top of your priority list to take care of yourself. Because if you're not good for anybody else.
Hmm. Yeah.
Marlene put a comment. He is back. Marlene said, I feel I do not do enough to conversate with others and keep their attention so that I feel comfortable, especially when I'm the only disabled person
Mm.
around. I think it's a lot of unnecessary fear.
Mm.
Any thoughts for Marlene?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing this with us, Marlon. I really appreciate your openness. And I can understand. I can understand how that can feel very uncomfortable. And I wouldn't say like, I mean, I wouldn't say unnecessary fear. It sounds like what you're feeling is very valid, and in in the situation. Um, So I just had this question that I feel to ask you, Marlon. Like, what is something that makes you unique, that you love? Um, and you don't necessarily have to answer. You can if you like. Um, I wonder what would it be like to connect with that more, um, when you are with groups, or one on one, right? Like really just connecting with something that you love. I have a sense that you bring a lot of uniqueness. I'm just having that sense right now, and I just want to share that with you. Um, yeah.
Awesome. We'll see if Marlene responds to that.
Hmm.
Sweet. So yeah, so we always want to obviously tie in therapy to all of this, and so if you can let us know, you personally, what your method and methodology is as a therapist yourself, but how would you guide someone in making an embodied decision?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that kind of like some of the steps that I offer, or suggestions that I offer, that's definitely how I start with helping um, my clients, for example, to connect with their bodies, to start making an embodied decision. Something else that I really love to do is something that I call like kind of choreographing um, the choices. So the way that we think, right, that's definitely going to impact how we carry ourselves in our bodies. Like,
Yep.
our thoughts and feelings are really in our bodies. So I have someone say, okay, just kind of similar to what I shared about me imagining myself eating the different options.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're gonna say out loud one of the choices, okay, and we're gonna say it how as if you're making that decision. So you can say, I am going to, or I am choosing, and then fill in the blank. And
Mhm.
then as the person says it several times out loud, I'm going to invite them to listen what's happening in your body right away. Just notice how your body responds to when you say that out loud. I am going to, or I'm making the choice of. And right away. Like, people, oh, I just felt tense, or I just kind of slouched a little. There was like a pit in my stomach, or maybe I felt a little bit more open. So we start talking about those observations and sensations that they're feeling in their body, and then what feelings connect to those, right? And then what thoughts may be behind those, or values or beliefs, right? So we start getting a little bit deeper. And then eventually, I may ask, okay, how, from 1 to 10, how connected do you feel to this choice? And they may say a number, and I'm like, where do you feel that in your body? You know? So, and they'll get to a place where it's like, oh, okay. And even getting insight into what's behind the choices that they were considering, as we move through the you know the awareness of what the body's saying. But yeah,
Okay.
like choreographing the choices.
Yeah.
It's one way that I use.
That's awesome. Marlon did respond because you asked him about like what makes him unique. He says, I love laughter art.
Hmm,
I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's like art of people laughing. That makes
yeah,
sense. I asked him.
laughter art.
Yeah,
Yeah,
laughter.
what is laughter art? That's awesome. See, I am interested. If you were here, I would ask you more about this, and I would ask you if you have something to show me about the laughter art,
Yeah,
and that
right.
would just really, that sounds super interesting. I have
Yeah.
never heard of laughter art.
So he left another comment too. Oh, he says he loves drawing.
Oh,
Very
that's
cool.
awesome.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Marlon left another comment. He says, my wife thinks I'm the life of the party with friends, but family, I kind of fear being myself, especially around her family.
Mm, yeah, yeah. It sounds, Marlon, that there's uh, some relational concerns, right? That, from what I'm hearing, and that they sound that they may be worth exploring a little deeper. So maybe, I would invite you to take some note, right? Be curious about the concerns, write it down. If you love to draw, I have clients that love to draw or art. I also invite them to draw about it and, make art around it, right? But I think the key here is to be able to have someone as your sounding board, right? Like it could be a therapist if needed, if you think that's what's needed, or it could be a very trusted friend or someone you love, and just kind of share these things, right? Like, and have someone that could hear you out, not necessarily tell you what to do, but to just kind of like be with you in the process, so you can start. Ooh, okay, this is what's happening for me, about this issue or particular situation. Um, so yeah, I hope that helps.
Awesome. Yeah, Marlon, let us know if that answered your question or your comments, if that helped at all. Awesome. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share, Lisa, about today's topic?
I think that I covered most of it. I mean, I could give another example, in how I help someone go through this process, but I don't know how we're doing with time. And,
Yeah, you have a few more minutes. Yeah, go
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, so another technique that I use, with clients, is just kind of taking on, just kind of using symbolic movement to kind of move through the choices. So it could be like if a choice is giving a lot of anxiety, or there's some, fear, hesitation around it, we would start just kind of moving those feelings. So I would, start saying to someone like, how does that feel in your body? If you were to take that emotion in your body, what would it look like? And then I would guide them into like movement around that. And then after a while, just kind of, they may get, insight around, okay, what's the fear connected to, or what's the anxiety connected to, and then eventually can give them more information around that choice. So that's also something that I do.
Awesome. Very cool. Yep. And then Marlon said, yes, definitely, that you answered the
Good.
question. So awesome. Sweet. Yeah. So we're wrapping this up. I want to throw Lisauda's website on the screen, drawingclosercounselingandwellness.com. I know it's your own practice. Do you have any other therapists that are part of your practice?
No, right now it's just me, solo.
Okay. Awesome. Yep. I don't foresee that being just you solo for too much longer. So I'm sure many other people will want to join the vision. So
Hmm.
yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of Lisada, please check out her website. Again, it's on your screen. It's drawingclosercounselingandwellness.com. And then if you'd like to get a hold of Lisada or any other of our guest therapists, in the description of this video below, there is a link to a Google spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet has all the contact information for all of our therapists. You'll get their name, phone number, email addresses, how much they charge for their services, if they focus on any particular topics, do they do telehealth therapy, everything you need to know is on there. Please take advantage of that resource. Again, this show in itself is not therapy, but it is designed and meant to at least perk up your interest and your curiosity in therapy to want to seek out formal therapy. So please don't let it stop here. Please go beyond just this show. Please reach out to therapists. Again, we have the spreadsheet available for you for free online. You can also go to other resources like psychologytoday.com or just find someone. And again, we've talked about this many times. Interview your therapist. The first therapist may not be the perfect one for you, the right one for you, but keep going. Interview your therapist, find out what their background is, find out if they study or focus on any particular areas that you may be struggling with. This way you can find a therapist that fits you well. Please take advantage of that, because that's the purpose of the show. It's Therapy Thursdays to talk about the beautiful benefits of therapy. This might be another member of your of your entourage. Norman Ramos says, hello, Lisada, and great listening to you.
Hi, Norman.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Great. Well, I'm going to read our disclaimer before we head out. All right. Again, this show is for informational purposes only. You are completely responsible for what you do with the information presented, and myself and all of our guests cannot be held liable for any misuse or misunderstanding of the information presented. Please always consult a trained mental health professional before making any decisions regarding treatment of yourself and others. Lisada, it is an absolute pleasure having you on the show again. Please come back. We love having you on here. You're a blessing every single time you're on here, and you're always welcome back. So please feel free to sign up for future episodes. Everyone else, thank you for checking in today. We appreciate you being here. We will be back next Thursday, again, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with another guest therapist to discuss another therapeutic, therapy, and mental health related topic. So until then, thank you for joining and have a good night.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Work, watch me do my